Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way. And you're going to be okay with it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, I am your creator, Takari Christopher Coles, aka T Christopher Coles, aka TK. But as I told you guys before, y'all can call me Ty. That is completely cool. And if you are not subscribed to the channel yet, why don't you go ahead and hit the subscribe button? That's all it takes. Just one click, you know. It's not as, you ain't gotta pay nothing. At least not yet. But right now, YouTube is free. Just subscribe and you can get my notifications whenever I pop up a new video, It's on its way. We got plenty of them on the way. I want to talk to y'all about my journey so far here in Atlanta. Baby! Now, hey, don't get me wrong. It's not all bad. It's not even entirely bad. But it's an experience going on in this joker right here. So much so that I'm getting hot with this hat on. Let me go and take this off. Let's get into it. Had to check the hair real quick. I got a fresh cut. By me, no, do not ask me for appointments. I don't have time, nor is that my ministry. I know how to do me. Not anybody else, just so you know. Don't blow up my phone. Anyway, to give y'all a little bit of a precursor, in case you don't know my journey, you don't know where I'm from here. I'm from Newport News, Virginia. Hey, what up, VA? I'm a Norfolk State University graduate. Behold the green and gold. Graduated from NSU in 2016 with a bachelor's in mass communications and journalism. rightfully so, right? Prior to that, I had different programs in high school that I was a part of. One in particular was the Newport News Public School television station program, and I was a student as well as an employee, so I got a chance to do different projects for grades and do different projects for money. Love that for me. Miss it, low-key miss it. I realize, miss it. Most of my clientele was back then. But it's okay, it's a new year. We're picking that back up, and yesterday's price is not today's price. Please know that. I'm grown, I'm a professional, pay me my worth. Thank you. While I was at Norfolk State, I took up a job at a movie theater. Stayed there for about 2 years, 1 year after I graduated, simply because I didn't want to go back to school just yet. I didn't want to go get my master's just yet. I have time to do that. I wanted to take a break because, at that point, I've been in school for all my life. So I wanted a little break, I like making my money at the time. But then I realized it was time to go. So I let go of that and I said, I'm gonna go into this for myself. I did it for 4 months. Granted, that's entirely too short, but that was my journey. I did it for 4 months. And to be quite frank with you, the only customer I had was my sister. If you don't know who that young lady is, her name is World's Greatest Treasure on Instagram. She's the shit. At one point she was my only customer. She is straight up my #1 customer. Not just because she's family, but because she sees so much in me that at times I couldn't see in myself. So I love her and I appreciate her dearly. This video is a huge chunk dedicated to her. So thank you, sis, I love you. But besides my sister's performance videos and her dance classes, I had no clientele. I had a low point in my life. I was asking mom and dad for money, couldn't stand doing that, still can't stand doing that. I don't even know if it's a pride issue. It's just a me issue. I don't like asking anybody for stuff if I can go get it myself. That's just me off it. But it was just a low point in my life where I was just like, you know what, I need to do something. I need to utilize my gifts. I need some, no pun intended, good news. Just when I hit one of the lowest moments I've ever hit in my life, I got a phone call from one of my mentors at Newport News Public School television station. They said, hey, they're looking for a photojournalist and an editor at WTKR WGNT News Channel 3. Now look, the Norfolk State curriculum is very publicity and news heavy. So a lot of my classes weren't geared necessarily towards film. I could use some of those gifts towards my film career, but they were mostly geared towards television and news. I had my taste of news. I did not want to touch news ever again. I swore up and down I was not touching news ever again. Until that day, because they were willing to pay. So I took the job, right? And this was in 2017, November of 2017. I remember crying the first time I got my check. It was a solid amount. I said, I've never had that much money ever in my life. The experiences was good. I was learning a couple of things as I was going along, but you gotta be quick with it. You gotta hurry up. You gotta learn a number of these things, because after a while they kick you out there and you gotta do the stuff yourself. I went through that whole journey, went through that whole process, and I met a good number of people, had a number of very good experiences. I never forget, it was one of the first Pride events I ever went to, and at the time, this was before all of the craziness involving his scandal. Jussie Smollett was the headliner of Pride Month. And news is so rapid that I went from a Pride event, having a great time meeting celebrities and having a good time with my reporter, to going to a murder scene in Newport News. That's how fast that goes. With that in mind, I don't know what it is about 2017, 2018, 2019, but it was a crime-filled couple of years. I don't know what was in the water. I don't know what extra crazy was put in the system, but everybody was losing their minds. People dying left and right, people getting killed left and right. At some point, not every photojournalist can say this, but at some point, some of those stories and some of those moments, they start going home with you. This was one of the first times I smelled a dead body. That was scary. The smell lasted for a number of days in my nostrils. I was like, I couldn't go anywhere without really smelling it. After that experience, I was like, okay, I maybe need a new shift, a new change in things. And, you know, I'd like to think I was good at my job, but because of me being adaptable and everyone else had these stricter schedules, they had me all over the place. And, you know, when you are a good employee or when you are that flexible, they'll put you anywhere. And I wasn't fine with that, and I didn't speak up about it. I should have spoken up about it. That was one of the things that just went wrong with my time there. If there was anything that I wasn't necessarily down with, or it wasn't something that I wanted to do, not that it was wrong, but if it was something I didn't want to do, I didn't speak up, because I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I didn't want to bother anybody. I didn't want to rub anybody the wrong way by saying no. So I just accepted, and I said, okay, fine. I was still getting paid, so fine. But my schedule kept going up and down, and through that experience, at some point I got tired of not saying anything. And one particular night, I don't know why everything piled up on this one day, but just going from story to story to story and not really having a break in between, and just because of how much I needed to drive around and handle different stories. And on that particular day, I was handling stuff on my own. I wasn't recording with a reporter. I was doing this stuff by myself and trying to make sure that all the footage made it back to the studio in time for like the 10 and the 11 o'clock shows. So, and I get it all done. I'm rushing to get it all in before the 10 o'clock show, and I managed to get all of it in at like maybe with 10 minutes to spare. And I asked the producer, hey, that's everything, right? You good? I said, oh yeah, we're not using that until the 11 o'clock show. Fine. At least I did not have to go out and do anything else. So I said, let me go ahead and take this break. Let me go grab something to eat, just for them to send me back out to Newport News. And if you are from the 757 area, you know that it is about 20 to 25 minutes to get from Newport News to Norfolk, and from Norfolk to Newport News. Now y'all, I'm not a particularly angry driver, but I had a lot of steam in me that night. I was quite upset. But it was my job, so I said, let me go do my job. Let me hurry up and go. I got in the car, and as I'm getting through the tunnel, headed into Portsmouth on my way to Newport News, there's a police car that stops me. Unfortunately, this is my second time getting stopped by a police car in a work vehicle, because I'm rushing to get to a scene. Now you'd think by being a photojournalist and about to go tackle a news story where it's something very important, something that's about to be on the news, they would understand me going just a little bit faster than I should be. No. Don't you dare think for a second that they care. None of the police departments care. If you speed, it's a ticket. They might give you a warning. You get lucky if you get a warning, but if you are speeding, they give you a ticket just like they give everybody else. Do not think you have special privileges. That is not a squad car. You do not have police lights on the top of your car. You do not get special privileges. Just know that. I got my ticket. I slowed down. And I get to the scene just for one of the people to tell me, I can't give you any information. My store manager told me I can't give you any information. Okay, okay, you can't tell me a whole lot, but can you at least tell me what direction people went so maybe I could follow? Maybe that was a little dangerous, y'all, but I had no leads, I had no footage, I had nothing. There was nothing outside of the store. It started there and then it ended blocks away, so I needed to go to that scene. So I asked them, can you at least point me in a direction of where this needs to go? Because they wanted me to show footage of the location at 11 o'clock so we could put it up for breaking news. I get to the scene. Nobody's there. It's dark outside. There's not really any yellow tape up, to be honest with you. You can tell somebody's been there, but it's not an active scene. It's not everybody outside, tape, police cars, all that other stuff. There's none of that. There's none of that going on. But I said, y'all know what? Y'all still want a live shot? Fine, let's do it. So we got this live equipment that we tape with us, and it's portable where if we drive a regular car, we can take that with us, plug it up to our camera, and showcase it. And when we do that, whatever we have on our camera is what's going to be seen live at the studio and for everybody else watching the channel. I had a full battery, a fully charged battery. I made sure I charged it as I was driving. The battery died 3 different times, back to back, in the middle of my live shot. And I tested it out. I said, let me try it a second time and see if this works. It clocked out after 7 seconds. Then I looked up and I started to pray. I said, God, if you're just trying to tell me something, just make it plain. If you turn the camera off one more time, you're telling me my night is done, it's time to go home. And it may be time to find another job. Amen. Tried the camera one more time. Clocked out within 3 seconds. I said, say less. Turned it off. Called up the studio and I said, hey guys, listen, my camera keeps dying. There is no scene out here. And the shooter was still on the loose. I don't have time to die for a job, okay? Packed everything up. And as I'm driving back, I said, you know what? I think I'm done here. Yeah, I think I'm done here. Not that anybody cared, because by the time you get back to the studio that late, everybody who's running stuff, they've already left after the 11 o'clock show. They pack up their stuff and they leave right on out. So I'm packing up my stuff. I'm making sure that everybody that I worked with knows that I cared about them, that I appreciated them helping me out throughout my time there. A lot of great people at the studio. A lot of people in management were cool. Other photojournalists and other reporters, they were really cool. I got a couple of people there that I still miss. They've all moved on. I think a vast chunk of them have all moved on to other news stations and other jobs. So congratulations to everybody else. I'm glad that we've all glowed up and we've moved on. That was my last night at WTKR. That was the first major job that I had in this industry. And I said, after this, I'm going to go out on my own and figure this out myself. Something about leaving that night and in that way felt right. So I said, you know what, I gotta step out on faith with this one. I'll figure it out. We'll be fine. I've been fine before. This has happened before. Everything was going to work out just fine. So I thought. Now, if we're keeping up with the math here, I was at WTKR for 2 years, and remember, I started in the later half of 2017. So if you do like a hop, skip, and a jump, that was 2018, and I was there for almost 2 years. So the later half of 2017, 2018, 2019. I went 1 year without having a job after I left WTKR in 2019. I walked right into 2020 with no job. So as far as I was concerned, as far as my life was concerned, I'm broke, I'm penniless, I have no money. So let me just go out here and get any job. Let me go get anything. So I'm applying everywhere under the sun, even back to other news stations. I'm applying to Applebee's. I'm applying to Ruby Tuesday. I'm applying to Olive Garden. And Olive Garden was the only place I got. The only place I got, and it was as a busboy. And that's not even the funny part. You wanna know the funny part? My start date was supposed to be March 16th, 2020. And if any of you know that particular date in Virginia's history, in the nation's history, that was the date that our governor, Ralph Northam, decided to lock down Virginia, COVID. And only essential personnel were allowed to their jobs and their duties. Because nobody's going in a restaurant, who needs busboys? So the day I was supposed to start training, I lost my job. The simple fact that that happened on the same day, I couldn't do anything but laugh. I just said, okay, thank you so much for your time. I hung up the phone and I said, let me go back to sleep so we can figure this shit out in another day. We just gonna go to sleep and pick this up tomorrow. The following day, March 17th, which also happens to be my father's birthday, I stepped out to Target and I was trying to figure out, okay, what can I get him with the little bit of change that I do have? What can I get him for his birthday? And then something dawned on me. I come in here a lot. I talk to these guys a lot. Some of them are really nice, Found out about the Target tech section. They deal with the phones and everything. They wear black t-shirts like this with the logo on it. And they're essentially Target employees that help out with tech. So I said, okay, cool. I like these guys. Let me apply. Sure. It took 3 months for me to get the job, but I got it. That was one of the first retail jobs I had after dealing with the movie theater job. I was there for a couple of months. Met a lot of nice people. I don't know what it is about the demographic in Hampton, Virginia, but there were a lot of elderly folks that I ran into in there. Is that where... Y'all can let me know, is that where our older folks go to retire? I hear people say it a lot, that Virginia is the place that most people go to retire. That might be the reason why. I don't know. But it was just a lot of elderly folks in there. And let me tell you something, you gotta have a lot of patience. The patience of Job. I had a couple of people tell me that I had the patience of Job. And they all came from people who had attitudes when they walked in, but they were calm by the time they left out. That was my whole mission. Let me help them out as much as possible, and if I can't help them out, at least I tried. Doing that job and being one of the only people doing it, especially during the week when they were trying to keep everybody spaced out, I just felt drained. I felt like I lost my passion. I lost my passion to do everything else. I picked up 1 or 2 smaller gigs along the way, but it didn't last long. I wanted more. I wanted to be able to do more projects outside of being at Target all day. I said, okay, let me see if there's a way I can maybe do a similar kind of job. Maybe work from home, and then maybe my schedule could fit around me doing what I really came to this earth to do. And so I signed up for IBEX Global. And basically, you do everything that I was doing, but you do it over the phone. Lord have mercy, the day after New Year's. The calls we got that day. Child. After a while, that job got old. And it was very simple. After a number of life events that were happening to me personally and to some family members around me during the holidays and right after the holidays. It was the kind of stuff that made you go, life is too damn short. You can't be out here just doing anything. What do you really want to do? What is your purpose? What were you out here to do in the first place? You need to be out here doing that. Whatever it is, you need to be out here doing it. I say, y'all, thank y'all so much for your time. I appreciate you guys for being there for me. Me going through my stuff, me going through my sickness at the time, non-COVID. But it's time for me to go. I bid my adieu, they understood, and I went on my journey on my own. I went back to square one without having a job, without having insurance, without having all of that extra stuff. It was just time for me to go. But right after leaving IBEX, I shot a short film with Real Gold Pictures. Some really dope guys over there. One of them is family. But when we got together, boy, we've been making a lot of magic. I miss those guys a lot. My hope is we get to work together again soon. But we put together The Treaty Part 2, Date Night. That was one of, if you guys see my demo reel, if you've ever seen my page, you've seen little tidbits of the movie. But check them out, Real Gold Pictures on YouTube. And check out the series. They're on part 4 as we speak. They're working on part 5 coming up very soon. I loved editing that feature. I actually shot it as well. We had a couple of things that went down the day we had to shoot, so I wound up shooting the whole thing. But putting it all together was amazing. Being at the watch party was amazing. And it just put me in a better headspace of, this is what I need to be doing. I did everything I could to apply to all these different places, all these different studios, both in VA and outside of VA, and no one was really picking up like that. And if they were, we'd meet up, we'd have an interview, some would go, okay, what's your price range? And to be quite honest with you, I was lowballing in Virginia, and the folks in Virginia could not take that pricing. Versus, you know, over here in Atlanta, they can understand that price and go, all right, bet, you want that much? Cool. I was severely lowballing the amount that I was charging, because out here in Atlanta, I told somebody that price, they laughed at me. The simple fact is, I was just in the wrong doggone market. Somebody out here would have been paid me for the work that they were asking me to do. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or, I was right where I was supposed to be. Because that time frame went by, and my sister graduated from Norfolk State as well. I put together a really, really dope video for her, encasing all the family and friends who love her. And that reinvigorated some things too. I felt good putting that together. I felt good editing and putting a number of things together and making people feel something. That was one of my biggest things. I loved making something that everybody just enjoyed. People can laugh at, people can cry about, and just feel something. That's my whole goal. If I can get you to cry watching something I made, I've done my job. It might sound a little sadistic, but I love it. I love it. We have a lot of practical thinkers in our family, but a lot of dreamers in our family as well. And every now and then I got a family member who's a mix of both of them. And those are the folks that I really had around me to let me know, listen, I know you gotta go out here and you have to fend for yourself, you gotta provide for yourself. You're a grown man now. I'm 27 years old, I'll be 28 next month. And they said, you know, I understand you gotta provide for yourself, but you have a gift, you have a talent that you need to be utilizing. And I've seen you try to utilize it here, and it's worked to a degree, but it's not working at its full potential. You're not at your full potential yet, and it's because of where you're at right here. You don't have as many opportunities in Virginia. So everybody was just itching and saying, listen, you really need to get the f*** out of here. It's time for you to go. Now, was I afraid? Of course. It's the first time I've been without my mother and my father. First time I've been without certain family members. I've been around them all my life. But they knew it was time for me to go. And if you've seen the Wonder Woman movie that came out in 2017, one of the big lines in there, it involves Wonder Woman and her mother when she's about to leave the island. And her mother says, listen, if you leave, you can never return. And Diana, Wonder Woman, she looks back at her mom and says, who am I going to be if I stay? That was the thought. That was my thought process. And I had moments like that where I thought that before, but then there was always a second guessing, so I never left. There were plenty of times, there were a number of you who know me, I've talked about leaving and going to LA and just pursuing my career and doing all this different stuff. And the next time you see me, I'm still working at the movie theater. Or I'm working at WTKR. I'm working at Target. And I'm working for a call center. Or I'm freelancing, still in Virginia. But it was something about this particular trip, this particular thought process. I said, I need to go out here, otherwise I am not leaving. I need to go out here and do what I gotta do, because if I don't leave right now, I'm not leaving Virginia. That's how crucial it got. I had a conversation with my Aunt Michelle, shout out to Auntie. We mapped out a couple of things, but everything wasn't mapped out. Some of the stuff we just had to wing when it was time for me to get out here. We knew that whatever it is, we needed to be in a place where work is happening, things are happening, and if I can get a piece of that work, do it. It was just time for a change. It was time for a move. It was time for something drastic, and Atlanta was the place.